Welcome to Cal 2019-2020 herd leader training. Very exciting stuff. We know just because a lot of you weren't able to make it to our uh, training meeting a couple weeks ago, we are going to put this on in a video form. And so it's not super long. We're going to make it kind of bite-sized chunks. This first one, I just want to talk about just general stuff, general cow. Something that Pete and I say a lot is that cow is a great place for kids really because of you guys. Cow is awesome and successful because our herd leaders are so incredible. We say Cal is a great place for kids because our volunteers, our volunteer leaders, incredible consistency. When you are consistent in showing up, when you are consistent in being there for these kids, even when it's not great content every week, even when it's not great conversation every week, even when things are maybe tough in your schedule, by being there consistently, we are modeling to these kids the consistency of God's love for them. By consistently showing up, you are showing them God's love in a really powerful and significant way. Um, Cal is awesome because you're patient with these kids. Middle school ministry is hard. Small groups with middle schoolers are hard. They're not always going to be successful. They're not always going to go well. By being patient with these kids, by loving them despite their warts, they're really aware when things aren't quite right. They can articulate that. They understand that they're not always the most easy to love, and they'll look back and remember that. But by being patient with them and loving them and being positive with them, being looking for the good and not necessarily the bad, that goes such a long way for these kids. Another way that the cow is so awesome. You guys are so creative. Be creative with the talk sheets. Be creative with the content. Be creative with how you're going to lead your group or what you're going to do or what you're going to bring a snack or do different things. Be creative with how you're going to engage with these kids. Last year, Bill Shield had a bunch of his kids over for a barbecue. It was creative. It was just a creative idea. Barb for years would have sleepovers or they would go on like missions things and do different things like that. The creativity of how we're engaging with kids, it doesn't have to be outside of the building, but that really goes a long way to building this community. Biggest thing though, like how it's successful because you guys love these kids. You guys love them. You show them such grace and such love that's so important to these kids. So keep doing that. Keep loving these kids. Know that you are having an impact. Something that we are mindful of is that you will have a ministry this year that no one else is going to have. You are going to talk to kids with a depth in ways that I never will. So know that you're having an impact. Know that your role is a significant one. God will use you to do things really no one else is able to do or positioned to do. And Esther, someone says to her that perhaps she was created for such a time as that. I really believe that we were created, you were placed in these positions for such a time as this. You have been placed in these kids' lives at this point in their history, at this point in their life, to be a significant um, mentor to them. So know that you have a significant role. You will engage with kids in meaningful ways, in ways that only you are positioned to do. So know that you can do that. So what's the commitment? What are we getting into? Something that we want to really touch on in this first video is what are you committing yourself to? Essentially, we say Cal is a 9-month commitment. We want you to commit to being at Cal September through May. The consistency of that is really important. If you won't make it, we realize not everyone can make it every week. There are work things, there are travel things that come up where you won't be able to make it. But as much as you are in town, please be do what you can to get to Cal. It means so much. It means so much to these kids. Uh, if you're not going to make it, we do have child protection issues. We do have to make sure we have 2 leaders per group. I do have subs, so please let me know as soon as possible. Let me know. Don't just text your herd leader partner. Text them too. That's helpful. But track with me. Let me know if you're not going to be there, and I will do what I can to find coverage so that we are complying with all our legal child protection obligations. So then we talk about with Cal, it's you're not committing to every Wednesday, Sunday. There is Cal on Sunday. You'll see that on the schedule. You don't have to read these tiny letters. I can get you a paper copy of this too. There is Cal on Sundays at both Oak Brook and Downers Grove. You're not necessarily committing to being at Sunday Cal. Usually Heather and I can handle that. If you do want to hop in, please feel free to do that. We want you to make sure you're finding an opportunity to worship yourself, but But if you want to hop down for one of our two services at either location, do that. Do that. Feel free to do that. If you want to teach our kids, if you want to work on your teaching, talk to me. We can maybe make make an opportunity for that. But it is just Wednesday. And then there are some special events. We do have some special events. It's not as scary as it sounds. I'm going to get into those real quick. Special events. First one coming up is karaoke. Karaoke is coming up. It's October 16th. It will be our high water mark for the year, probably, of the number of kids that are in the building. It will be absolutely huge. So be ready for karaoke. Comedy Carols is like it. Both these events are on Wednesday nights. They're part of our normal ministry schedule, so they're not something that you're coming to separately. But they are about 30, or they're 30 minutes longer. They end at 9 o'clock. They are high energy. There's a lot that goes into them. So just be ready for both of those. I will assign jobs. I'll be in communication in the build up to both of those events. I will assign people into different places just so you know what's expected of you on both those nights. But be ready too on both those nights. We meet all hands on deck. We will have more friends and more guests in the building than we really do at any other point in the year. So just be ready for that. Know that's coming. Those are coming up, karaoke being the first one. Stampede, we do ask our herd leaders to attend this if at all possible. If you can look at these first few months leading up to Stampede, if you add up all the time that we have in small groups together over that first semester, it is not even close to the amount of time that we share together just in that one weekend at Stampede. And so that weekend really is valuable. It's a valuable time for groups to come together relationally. And so having our mentors with those cabins really does go a long way. I know it's a big ask. It's Friday night. We leave here about 6. We'll be back in Oak Brook about noon, 1 o'clock on that Sunday. It is Super Bowl weekend. So that's January 31, February 1, 2. So mark that on your calendar if you can make it. That would be awesome. We usually have about 75-80% of our herd leaders in attendance for that one. Another one that sneaks up on people, sneaks up on me getting help for this, is 30-Hour Famine. It's in March, March 14th and 15th. It's an overnight. It's a missions-focused event. Kids will sleep in the building. It's a lot of fun. It's usually a smaller event, so we don't need quite the coverage, but it is really meaningful to have some of our herd leaders there. So if you can make it, that would be awesome. It's a Saturday to a Sunday morning. It is a lot. It's a big ask to sleep here at the church, but it would be meaningful to us if you could be there. Last thing is eighth grade herd leaders. We have a couple things that we would love to have you participate in towards the end of the year as they're getting ready to make that transition. You have a really unique voice in their lives and can help them to make a successful transition into high school ministry. First is a Koinonia visit night. So the kids have an opportunity to visit our high school ministry, and that is on April 26th. It's a Sunday evening. Maybe mark that in your calendars. So they just go and are high schoolers for a night. And so having their normal herd leaders there can be really, really positive for them, help them to ease that transition. So if you can be a part of that, that would be awesome. Last thing for eighth graders is eighth grade celebration is May 1st. We go to Enchanted Castle and ride go-karts and just generally rage around and play games and have fun together. Then we go to someone's house and just share stories and talk about middle school. And again, because you guys have such a unique role in these kids' lives, we want to give you a platform to celebrate their 3 years in Cal together. So mark that on your calendar, eighth grade herd leaders. Summer dates are on this calendar. We would love to have you. You will be my first asks. You have a unique role in these kids' lives, and having you for our summer camp and missions trip can be really positive. So I'm going to ask you every summer, but I want to be really mindful. I know that the 9-month commitment's a lot, and so summer is tough with family. So you are not necessarily on for that. Please feel free to say no if you need a break, if that's too much for you. We want to make sure we're keeping our team healthy. But you will certainly be invited to join in that. Oh, went past it. But yeah, last thing I want you to know, you're having an impact. You're significant. You're doing great stuff. Keep crushing it with these kids. Thank you for all you do. We love you.